The name of the first person is Mimar Sinan. He was born April 15th, 1489, July 17th, 1588. He was known as the Grand Architect and as a stonemason. He was born in the Ottoman Empire. His claim to fame was his design of the Suleiman Mosque in Istanbul. The Ottoman Empire had reached the peak of its military power and its political power as well at the time. For religion, he converted to Islam later in his life. Developments occurred in every field of arts, but much more significantly in calligraphy. Sinan's motivation to become an architect was his Leonardo da Vinci, who fascinated Sinan ever since Leonardo visited his town. A short-term effect from Sinan was that he created many buildings that were of use to the Ottoman Empire at the time. A long-term effect would be his architect style carried out by others and eventually used to contribute to the construction of the Taj Mahal. Mimar Sinan is connected to Andrei Sakharov because they both created and designed a project for their countries. Sinan created buildings, and Andrei created bombs. One provides shelter, the other destroys it. The name of the second person is John Knox. He was born in 1513 and died November 24, 1572. His title was as a Scottish minister. He is from the country of Scotland. His claim to fame is from being the founder of the Presbyterian Church in Scotland. At first, he worked for the Church of England, then Roman Catholic became the dominant religion, and he was exiled. This shows how tough religion was at the time. Queen Mary announced that there would be no change in religion, but he eventually replaced Roman Catholicism with Presbyterianism. A short-term effect created by John Knox would be changing Scotland's religion to Presbyterian. A long-term effect from John would be that he was a giant in Scottish history and their reformation. The kingdom could have gone back to Catholicism if it were not for John Knox. John Knox is connected to Mimar Sinan through religion. John Knox made the Church of Scotland Presbyterian, converting everyone to that religion, while Mimar converted himself to another religion, Islam. Johann Strauss Jr. is the third person. He was born on October 25, 1825, and he died June 3, 1899. He was titled as a composer. He was from the country of Austria. His claim to fame was composing mostly light music, dance music, and operettas. I believe that Johann was motivated by his father, who also happened to be a composer himself. A short-term effect that he caused would be that he was largely responsible for the popularity of the waltz in Vienna. A long-term effect would be having over 500 songs that people can still listen to today. Johann Strauss Jr. connects to Arthur Zimmermann. Johann was born in Austria, as well as Hitler, Germany's leader during World War II. Arthur was not exactly part of World War II, but was born in Germany and contributed to World War I. Arthur Zimmermann is the fourth person. He was born on October 5, 1864, and died on June 6, 1940. His title was State Secretary for Foreign Affairs of the German Empire. He is from Germany. Arthur's claim to fame is his name that was associated with the Zimmermann telegram. Arthur lived throughout World War I and also through some of World War II before he died. Socially, during World War I, Germany wanted war. His motivation behind the message was to instigate war with the United States and to create an alliance with Mexico. A short-term effect would be just the sending of telegram to Mexico. A long-term effect would be the interception of the telegram having a role in getting the United States to join World War I. Born May 21, 1921, and he died December 14, 1989. He was known as a nuclear physicist, dissident, and activist for disarmament, peace, and human rights. He was from Soviet Russia. Andrei Sakharov's claim to fame was being the designer of the Soviet Union's RDS-37, which was a thermonuclear weapon. he creating this nuclear device for Soviet Russia during the Cold War, where their power went up against the USA's power. Civil liberties were not really an ideology in Soviet Russia at the time, and that is why he was persecuted for supporting it. His original goal was to create a bomb, then he became motivated to become an advocate for civil liberties. A short-term effect would be him creating a nuclear weapon whose design was used in a much larger bomb, the most powerful nuclear device ever detonated. It was called the Tsar bomb. A long-term effect would be leaving behind the design for the most powerful nuclear device ever detonated. Andrei Sakharov is connected to John Knox. Andrei was persecuted for believing in something the government did not believe in. John Knox did not support Queen Mary and defied her as well, but was not punished for doing so. The sixth person is named Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He was born on March 7, 1927, and he died on April 17, 2014. His titles include being a novelist, short story writer, screenwriter, and journalist. He is from the country Colombia. He is best known for his novels, especially his one novel called 100 Years of Solitude. During much of his life, there was a lot of gang violence and crime involving drugs in Colombia. The artistic conditions during his lifetime were created by himself, writing novel and short stories. He was widely known for them. Much of Gabriel's work was inspired by his hometown of Aracataca. An entertaining book or short story to read if you are bored and become a little bit happier would be a short-term effect from him. A long-term effect would be how some of his books and short stories contained life lessons that when read, people can follow and implement into their own lives. Gabriel Garcia Marquez is connected to Johann Strauss because they both created forms of art. Gabriel wrote novels, short stories, screenwrites, and articles, while Johann with his music composition.